Is Cardano on a Bitcoin-like trajectory? And if so, what could that look like for ADA price? What's up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Ventures. This is a Cardano video, and we're using some Bitcoin data. We're using some really cool data on these charts, and I'm excited, everybody. A lot of you out there might be watching this video, might see the thumbnail alone, see the headline alone, and you're like, what is this guy talking about? This is the Cardano chart down 85%. This dude doesn't know what he's talking about. He's crazy. This chart is foundational to my long-term enthusiasm of Cardano, my long-term enthusiasm and optimism of ADA being a good investment. And there is so much more. There is so much more than just this chart that we see here. But let's start here for very quick context. ADA trading around 5 years, right? So 5 years later, ADA is down from an all-time high around 85%. I want to start with this data point. 5 years after Bitcoin began trading, Bitcoin was down around 85%. Did this mean Bitcoin was a failure when it dipped to $150 or so? Right? In 2015, was that it? Because if you're using that dip data alone to say that Cardano is a failure now and it just doesn't have what it takes to make it in crypto as a project, then guess what? You would have been wrong using that same principle back in 2015 in terms of Bitcoin. You would have been very wrong. Talking about $150 Bitcoin. We've seen what Bitcoin has done in the long term. Okay? You just zoom out. Look, it's off the charts. That's number one. Now, the other thing, before we kind of really start digging into this, is I want to start with a tweet, because this is also a big piece of why I'm extremely bullish on Cardano. This was yesterday. I said it's simple. I think $150,000 Bitcoin and $10 ADA will arrive one day. So today, I plan accordingly to that possibility. And yeah, that means through 85% dips, if not more, if we continue down further. Mike Alfred, gotta love him. He gives me such a hard time with ADA. I don't know why. It's fine though. It's fine though. He offers good Bitcoin content, but he says, I'll take $400,000 Bitcoin and $1 ADA. But that would mean I was wrong about ADA not going back over $1 again. I need to learn to give a little. And I said this, when BTC is 400,000, ADA will be $20 to $30. We should do a Twitter space on that day to laugh about it. I understand how, to a lot of people that just don't see the opportunity in ADA, I understand how they just think what I'm throwing out there looks crazy. But it's very data driven. It's very research driven. These numbers that I'm talking about. These numbers, when I talk about a $10 ADA, that's in an environment where crypto is booming and Bitcoin is flying. Bitcoin's at $150,000, right? That's the type of environment. And ADA is a crypto that I think is here to stay. And it keeps proving itself over and over again that it is a sound blockchain, that it is one of the most sound blockchains that is around and that will be around. And it proves itself technically from a fundamental level in all of these different pieces that is happening in the Cardano ecosystem and in the technology. Most people aren't even aware what's happening because they just pay attention to the negative memes. They're not paying attention to what's being built. So this is good context. $150,000 Bitcoin, $10 ADA. I could see that world. I could see this, a $400,000 Bitcoin, a $20 to $30 ADA. And this is zoomed out, everybody. This is like long-term stuff, right? When we start getting into the $30 ADA range, we're talking about like $1 trillion market cap for ADA. BTC just hit $1 trillion market cap not that long ago. So this is, again, zoomed out. But $400,000 Bitcoin is zoomed out, right? But this is the long-term trajectory of Bitcoin. And we start looking, well, is ADA on that trajectory? And Ada Whale, shout out, go follow him. Just insanely good Cardano content. A leader, an influencer in the Cardano community. He'd probably hate that I say that. But BTC started trading July 2010. 4.5 years later, 2014, had a market cap of 4.4 billion. That's great context of pretty explosive growth for a new technology, a new currency that is Bitcoin. ADA started trading September 2017. 4.5 years later, has a market cap of 15.4 billion. though staking didn't start till 2020. So look at that. Look at that trajectory alone of this early stage technology, this new technology that is Cardano, comparative to an early stage Bitcoin. Extremely interesting data. And before I continue reading through this thread, I have to go to the last piece of this thread. Ada Whale, this is important. He says, please don't take this post as a recommendation to load up on ADA now. This is a bear market, so be prepared for possibly months of double-digit negative returns. If you do, just trying to put it into long-term perspective. And it is so important, everybody. This is so risky. Crypto in general. This is not financial advice. This is me just kind of displaying my long-term enthusiasm for my own investments. And I'm not a financial advisor. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not predicting what's going to happen, but I'm in ADA for certain reasons, and that is because I think Cardano as a project is going to succeed tremendously in the long term, but you have to be so careful. You have to be so careful. He continues, Cardano is one of the few coins that approaches Bitcoin's distribution and inflation. No VCs, relatively equal distribution, and predictable inflation. Today, people can buy in cheaply until it reduces fast. No Ponzi-nomics, but good old backloaded disinflationary monetary policy. Here's the emission schedule for ADA supply. And just look at it over the years, evening out, right? We have staking rewards in blue. Obviously, those are coming into play as we all take part in the consensus protocol, in the staking protocol that came online with Shelley. And so if we're looking at this, though, you can see how there can be, in the macro, in the long term, a supply shock. Cardano really is built that way. People say there's too many tokens, there's billions of tokens. The amount of tokens does not matter. When you're looking at price and tokens, what matters is the market cap, is the valuation of ADA, right? Zoomed out. And there is a ton of market share for ADA to grab, right? It's the tokenomics. And what you see here, this emission schedule and the supply of ADA, this is important in terms of a supply shock. The number of tokens that are in the mix here, it's besides the point. It really is. And so research market cap alone, and you'll begin understanding why that is. To put it differently, and here we go, if we all stick around, keep the lights on and enthusiasm going, there will come a time pretty soon where ADA is going to be a very scarce asset. Supply shock, scarcity, the scarcity factor. We talk about that all the time for Bitcoin surrounding its own halvings and diminishing supply of Bitcoins that's coming into circulation. It could potentially, no guarantees, walk a BTC-like trajectory. So what about other coins? And by the way, I just like what he said here. If we all stick around, keep the lights on and enthusiasm going. And this is something I'm noticing, putting aside the technicals, and I'm really not even talking much about the fundamentals here. I do videos on that, right? We talk about why I think Cardano is going to succeed. It's proving itself in so many ways. But the enthusiasm, we keep the enthusiasm going. I just think about Cardano as a community just growing, expanding, Cardano holders, accumulators growing, expanding. And I just did a video the other day about the growing Cardano phenomenon, which is Cardano on Twitter, on social media, winning all of these polls all the time. It's something to be said about the enthusiasm that is going on and the lights being kept on in terms of the Cardano protocol itself. It's looking better and better, everybody. It really is. As we hit these hard fork combinator events and we go through them, and the protocol keeps delivering in these fundamental upgrades, and it's working, and it's becoming more decentralized, and it's about to become more scalable. It's proving itself as a blockchain. It really is. In my opinion, BTC got it right. Fair distribution, price low long enough to allow many to buy, fixed supply, intemperable monetary policy. And he breaks it down a little bit. ETH doesn't meet number 3. May not be most important. VCs don't meet 1 and 2, fair distribution and price low enough to allow many to buy. They got greedy, rushed, and may not going to make it. They bet utility offsets it. They bet that utility offsets it. And that's true. And that's why oftentimes you see this kind of narrative, hey, it's so fast, everybody. It's so fast. And it's so usable. Who cares if it's decentralized? Who cares if it's secure? That doesn't work. It can't work in a long-term, reliable technology that is a cryptocurrency protocol. Those methods, that approach is not foundational to build on. VC coins, extreme double-digit inflation today, coupled with handing most of supply to insiders who were earning that inflation, has been detrimental. I should have had the charts up that shows kind of like, Solana distributed supply to insiders and all these other protocols, these VC-backed coins. Token burning is even more egregious as it effectively pumps up price today so they could sell high, but prices out adoption. It prices out the adoption of the crypto. Crypto loves narratives, Web3, metaverse, future of finance, but focuses too little on what has proven to work, which is Bitcoin, which is the way Bitcoin was built. There are no shortcuts. To get enough adoption, we need to suffer through price action like today and ride it out. Long term, I suspect it will be worth it. And I'm just on board. I'm on board with Ada Whale. I asked his permission to be able to just do a video on this. And he said, one thing to add is, despite all of us pretending we're in it for the tech, one of the areas of utility of crypto is actually facilitating the greatest wealth transfer in history. In that sense, VC coins can build the most amazing looking dApps, but we're always doomed to fail. And so everybody, it's a pretty short, concise thread, but it puts so many things into perspective in terms of why I'm bullish, why I cover Cardano so much. Obviously, I'm creating YouTube content. I enjoy just turning the camera on and recording my thoughts because I'm like you. I'm just throughout the day, I think about these things and I'm thinking about crypto and I just like to communicate it. I'm excited about the project. I'm excited about what we're doing here, what we're trying to build here, but it really puts it into perspective. Yeah, ADA is down, right? It's down big time around 5 years after it's trading. But look, Bitcoin was down big time and that didn't spell long-term disaster for Bitcoin. It didn't spell out that the technology was done for and it was not reliable or sound. Not at all. It didn't. It was really just huge opportunity, $150 Bitcoin. And then if we look at the growth of Bitcoin over the years, this is where we've ended up. And so we can look at the Cardano chart, as we can zoom out, we see its dip here, and we just wonder, well, such a sound protocol being built, proving itself. And we looked at the supply and the potential for scarcity of ADA. Where will this chart take us? Where will this chart take us? Risky play for sure. Crypto is. But where will this chart take us? And that's my question. And I have a strong thought and opinion that in the long term, Cardano will continue growing and ADA will continue growing. And ADA will continue breaking all-time highs. But again, it's risky. I do these videos to kind of share my journey with you. So be careful out there. I can't highlight this enough. Please don't take this post as a recommendation to load up on ADA now. It's a bear market, and it is a bear market. Things could just drop quick. You have to be so careful out there, everybody. You have to really look at your own financial situation and make your decisions responsibly. And it's truly unique for everybody. So be careful out there, but there's so much more to talk about in regards to all of this content, the things that intertwine with this, the technology being built, what's happening with scalability, the Vassal hard fork coming up, and what's happening with so many different things. So this is just a nice overview foundationally to why I'm bullish on Cardano and taking this Bitcoin data as some, I think, useful perspective is helpful. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate all of you out there. I really do. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.